All right, so in this video, we're going to talk about using the agents, you know, the AI agents in understanding the relationships between people. So, understanding the modeling relationships for, for social media targeting, for sales and marketing, and understanding how that kind of works. So, we have different types of relationships. So first is like the emotional relationship, the relationship that a person talks to, why they are in connection to somewhere. So we have, high level categories of, family, romantic, friendship, educational, social, business partners, mentorship, work relationship. So these types of relationships are important in terms of how people get influenced and how information is flowing between people. Um, so the first modeling is looking at how someone's social media can relate to someone else as well. The second type of relationship we talk about is if we're going to be selling a product or a service, then we're looking at relationships based on content. So we're really talking about subject matter topics in here. So for this video, I got ChatGPT to talk about a couple of areas that I work in. So human capital management, we see that it's done a pretty good job of working out topics. And we look at HubSpot and we see that it's also done a fairly good job of creating 10 topics around HubSpot. So why do we want this? So if we look at how people engage with each other, obviously I have my connections, but I also create posts. I comment on posts. People comment on my posts. So building these networks up on just actual relationship alone is not enough because that doesn't necessarily indicate who is the strongest influencer or who is the thought leader in a specific topic. So here what we're trying to do is establish actual relationships and the way content influences a person around a desired network like topics. So if I'm posting a lot about sales, who is commenting on my sales post? But if I'm writing about integration, then who's commenting on those? So content-based relationships is a strong way of, identifying the right influencer, right person, and who they trust and who you trust as a prospect. So we can visualize this. Here we talk about on the left, we're talking about networks which are topic related. So let's say I'm trying to sell to my target here, and my target talks about marketing and integration. So what I can do is then look at any posts or articles that my target is commented on or has written, and then who else is within that network. So who wrote the article or who commented or even who liked to start building up this network of influencers. And then we can do the same around any other topic matter. So this starts to build up who is influencing the target. And on the right hand side, we have the relationship. So who is related to the target. So here we indicate the strength of relationship by the amount of communication between two people. So we can see that in this case, Mr. A is probably a higher influencing person for the target than Mr. B and Mr. C. And the same would go here in our illustration. So Mr. A talks about marketing, Mr. A talks about integration. So overall, there's probably a larger impacting person to the target. So let's go and have a look at this. So I have pulled up a network analysis. So I've pulled from a LinkedIn account, a public LinkedIn account to see who this person is talking to, who is talking to them. And we can see in this diagram that we can see all their network, and through the network we can start identifying who is talking the most to this person. So here we can see Christopher is someone that is influencing Michael, and we can also pull out others in this whole diagram. So we can see that there's a couple of other people. This guy back here, uh, this guy here, Justin, also is influencing Michael as well. Uh, so we can analyze, I mean, from a intelligent agent's point of view, we're having the bots go in, identify the person, identify all the contact, identify the content, subject matters, cluster out those subject matters, then identify the relationships between those subject matters using a variety of different techniques. And how do we identify techniques? We're creating the clusters around the service and product, and then we're using a large language model or something similar to identify content which fits into one or multiple categories. And then we're able to build these networks. This is not the topic network, it's only the relationship network to identify strong people. And the idea is, as we see here, we have all this surrounding activity. And the idea is that we focus on the people around this activity who is most likely to impact Michael. So instead of trying to target Michael directly, we can target around Michael to with our product and service with likes, comments, communication, posts, and connections to make Michael feel that he's aware of your brand, he's aware of the product and service, that the people he trusts is also in your circle. So you're not coming in cold when you're talking to Michael, you're actually coming in like he's probably seen the company, he's probably seen the conversation, and maybe you've even commented on Michael in the past before you start approaching things. So we're trying to create this social proof, sense of community for Michael to be able to market to Michael and understand exactly what Michael likes based on the topic matters that he talks about. So why is this important? So if we look at the sales psychology, we can talk about social proof, that providing social proof, belonging to a group, and and here we want to talk about minimizing risk for buying. So if you never heard of a brand or a company or service or a product, then you may be more fearful to buy it or even look at it. But when you're starting to see that people within your network have mentioned or talked or related to that product or brand, now your confidence in the brand is increased because there's an awareness of something happening related to that brand. So that's going to minimize the sense of risk for the buyer or the target. Also, we're able to do other things like illustrate features and benefits based on topic maps to the person who is interested in buying. So we're trying to, rather than trying to go straight to them and say, this is our features, this is our benefits, we can illustrate via creating information, comments and posts and things within their network, whether that be directly to the person or through a group or another common means to be able to get to that person. Um, and we're able to use a lot of different strategies here. So we have likes, we have comments, comments on comments, creating posts and tags, posts in groups, etc., etc. So we have a lot of tools to be able to influence our target. It's about combining the different strategies to reach to our target. So let's say we have Mr. A and Mr. C from our example before. Um, what we want to do is create the interactions around the target, as I mentioned. So Mr. A, we may first uh, interact with his content. We may post comments or content that's within his circle. And then we may try to connect with that person. So we're trying to create this conversation, dialogue, uh, awareness of who we are, and then later create the connection. So the chances of him accepting the connection is high. We have subject matter to connect on as well, and now that's part of our targets network. So even just the existence of us being part of that network shows that we're someone that our target can trust. Um, Mr. C, the same kind of thing, maybe a slightly different strategy based on his personality, but it will be the idea about talking about integration, features, other subjects, videos, links, whatever it is, to create that environment around Mr. C as well. And then also to start trying to, once we have a bit of a network around our target, then it's about interacting with our target and eventually trying to connect and refer and try to get some type of customer problem which we can solve the solution for, so we can push them to some type of call to action or whatever. So this is not really, visually here, we see this as a target and we see the people around it, but the reality is that Mr. A will have multiple networks. It's not like our target is just one person. The chances are our target is many people around Mr. A, Mr. C, and we can think of that as the 7 degrees of separation. So our efforts for one person is not really just one person. It's many people that are potentially around. So even though Mr. A might not be and Mr. C might not be considered influencers in a market, in a very large market, they can be seen as localized influencers for our target. They may be a colleague or someone they trust or someone that they met at a workshop that they think is nice, but they already have that connection there, or it could just purely online, that they respect the content and find the content interesting. So it's trying to align our service and brand with these people to be able to get to these targets, but then again to expand that out and look for targets around Mr. A, Mr. C, and then eventually around the target itself to build out the network even further. So, and if the 7 degrees of separation means it's pretty much 7 hops and you'll get to everyone in the world. So even if it's a lot more than that, it doesn't matter. It's trying to branch out the network in a very kind of localized way. So in summary, so this is in addition to the bots. So our bots are working on social media, talking, discovering how to use social media. But here, our network analysis component of the bot is trying to create an environment around the sales and integration. So it's really trying to focus on social proof through the discussions, comments, and likes, referrals, another soft approach to get the customer's interest, because once we get the interest, we're able to create those referrals. It's trying to be autonomous, so we're trying to get our AI agents to work without humans to do all these events without necessarily telling them to do A, B, and C. It's about the agents discovering, working out who is a good target, who we should talk to, and how we should talk to the person. And this is definitely a complementary approach. So this is not designed just to work alone. It's to work with other strategies. For example, an event-driven approach where people are asking questions about a topic and we're able to answer those questions to drive a response and interest in the topic. Educational, so trying to push education about our product and service. Invitational approaches such as invite to a webinar or some type of limited offer. And then obviously our other psychological elements, which is like loss aversion and gifting, where we're using like, hey, here's a discount or here's an offer that's going to last for 1 month or whatever it is, to try to put interest, pressure on the people that we're trying to sell to. So they're all different ones, and I'll get into them in a different video. But here it's really basing the foundation where, we've got our agents, we're analyzing all the people in depth, which is another video about the psychology of the person, and then building the environment around that person to create that group awareness, that comfort in our brand and service, and then later starting to target them with the different sales approaches to get the conversation going. All right, so I mean that's all for that video, and later videos we'll get in more different details, and we'll also get into the details around the psychology of it and other strategies which combined with the agents to deliver the solution.